Hello, and welcome to Everything, Anything, and Nothing Really, the podcast where we will talk about everything, anything, and nothing almost always at the same time. My name is Eric Walensky. I'm one of your hosts.
I am Matt, and I am also a host on this podcast.
How are you doing, Matt?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good.
This week, Eric and I have been looking for a lot of interesting news stories to share with our listeners, and it seems that we have found a lot of stories from one particular place, Bay City, Michigan.
Ah, Bay City.
And to be honest, full disclosure, Eric and I both grew up very close to Bay City, Michigan, so we're very familiar with the area. It's a nice area. The governor has not poisoned the water there yet.
Not yet.
It's nice, but we've had some interesting things to talk about Bay City. So they had a contest in Bay City last summer. Well, let me just read you the first few lines of the article.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Remember that contest Bay City kicked off back in June to celebrate its 150th anniversary, where if you attended and stamped off 25 activities in the city, you could win a grand prize worth $1,500? Not many people do. In fact, only one person did.
So in celebration of the 150th anniversary of Bay City, Michigan, nobody did anything.
So, what would it be like if we had a contest and one person...
Nobody entered. Yeah.
Well,
what except for one person.
Which would be worse, if nobody entered or if only one person entered? I don't know.
I was thinking about that when I saw this story. I started thinking, what is worse? I think it would be worse if nobody entered, but I think it's kind of cuter that one person did.
Well, and it wasn't like a raffle. I mean, you actually had to do things. You had to do these 25 activities and get them stamped off in a book. So
now this book, it was a guidebook, and it was mailed to everybody in the city with their utility bill. Mm-hmm. And it was a guidebook with 150 different activities that you could do in Bay City, and you got to pick 25 of them, and then you went and did it, and then you got your book stamped that said you did this activity, and then you turned the booklet in, and that was your entry form, and then you won.
Yeah.
Or it was part of a drawing. Then,
or you won because you would be the only one that...
Right. As it turned out, one person won because they were the only one to be drawn. But theoretically, there should have been lots to draw from.
Yeah, and some of these activities were so difficult, like go and have a beer at a certain place. I
love that people wouldn't go have a beer to enter a contest to win $1,500. That's a new level of lethargic citizen right there. Hey, you want to win $1,500? What do I got to do? You want to have a beer?
Nah, there's something good on TV. Well, you can watch TV at the bar.
And Bay City, it's a nice little town, but I started thinking of 150 things to do. Like, at least one of those things had to be like shake hands with your mailman or something, because I can't think of 150 different things to do, let alone 150 things that were so difficult that only one person entered the contest.
We should contact the city and find out if we can get a copy of this book to find out what were those 150 things.
Oh, well, you can. In the story, the deputy city manager said she was actually contacted by people from out of town who wanted to have the guidebook.
People from Paris were calling.
Yes. Everybody wanted this guidebook, but nobody in Bay City did.
I love their excuse. Okay, this is a great part of the article. Deputy City Manager Dana Muscott said the city mailed out information on the passport contest early in order to let residents stamp off their 25 activities throughout the summer. The long waiting period, she said, may have caused some people to forget to enter the contest. If anything, people still got a great book showcasing everything you can do in Bay City, Muscat said. So,
hey, at the very least, they got a great book that they ignored. Like, the contest is over. If they didn't read this book and do it for the contest, I don't think they're doing it now. If Bay City were Santa Claus, and Santa Claus was going to die because nobody believed in him, Santa Claus would be dead if it wasn't for this one guy. Bay City would have died.
And not only did this guy win first prize, he won prizes 2 through 10 because nobody else was in the contest.
Exactly. He got prizes 2nd through 10th place. So he ended up actually winning almost $2,000 worth of prizes because he was the only one to enter the contest.
I mean,
he's quoted as saying, though, and this is almost a show-off kind of remark, I love Bay City so much that this was pretty easy. That's being bold there, huh? That's really rubbing it in to everybody else in the town.
Way to taunt all those people that stayed home.
No, but I'm very proud of this one gentleman who went out there and actually got 25 things stamped. And I agree, it had to have been so easy. Like he says, he literally, one of the things to do was go have a beer at one of the new restaurants downtown. Another one was go see a movie at the theater downtown. Another one was go see a play. I mean, these are not hard, complicated things, and they're relatively inexpensive.
It's like the entire city looked at this and said, I have to actually do things in Bay City to win? Count me out.
So we moved from a contest where nobody really wanted to have any fun to two people who had a little bit too much fun. A couple gets engaged at Walmart, steals sex toys at the mall, police say. Shortly after a Bay City man proposed to his girlfriend at Walmart, the pair shoplifted jewelry and sex toys, police say, leading the newly engaged couple to spend their New Year's Eve in jail.
I don't even know what to say.
Well, I'll continue. About 6:14 p.m. on Wednesday, Bay County Sheriff's deputies responded to the Spencer's gift store inside the Bay City Mall for a shoplifting complaint involving a man and a woman. Now, see, that's good, as marriage and crime were intended. A man and a woman. No same-sex shoplifting.
One man, one woman, 2 arraignments.
I like that they're traditional.
Yes.
Yes, they were shoplifting from a Spencer's Gifts. Both suspects fled the area prior to the deputies' arrival, but deputies found the woman walking between Bob Evans and Taco Bell, followed by a Spencer's employee, court records show. Bob Evans and Taco Bell are like, leave us out of this. Why did you have to mention that? I mean, this article, while it's very funny, it's so oddly specific at times. I don't need it. Just they found him outside.
Yeah, I know.
What more am I getting out of this article that I? I can picture where the Bob Evans is.
Or like if somebody's like, "Hey, I can't picture that. Let's go down there tomorrow and walk between the Bob Evans and the Taco Bell to see where this happened."
Deputies searched the 20-year-old woman and found a pair of gold earrings and a silver necklace with a star pendant. The woman told deputies she and her 25-year-old fiancé visited the mall to shop and maybe see a movie. Well, maybe. Adding, they had already seen Star Wars twice, and the Peanuts movie wasn't playing anymore. It's like so specific. She also added she had no part in what happened at Spencer's. She denied stealing anything from the novelty store and said she was not going to snitch on her fiancé. Isn't saying I'm not going to snitch snitching? I'm not going to snitch on him. I'm not going to tell you he did it. I mean, isn't that pretty much implying he did it? You wouldn't say I'm not going to snitch on him. You would say, no, he didn't do it.
Right.
There's you shouldn't even bring up the concept of snitching. That implies there's something to be snitched.
Right. You're not hiding. If you say snitching, you're obviously hiding something that could be snitched about.
So they got her between the Bob Evans and the Taco Bell. This is great. Deputies later located the fiancé sleeping in the mall's food court, apparently having fallen asleep at a table while tying his shoes.
Well, he had a big day.
Oh, such a big day.
He got engaged, almost saw a movie.
Little shoplifting. You just lay down there and you just take a little snooze, buddy.
I'm going to tie my shoes if I don't get too tired out here.
Gonna need the shoes tied to run away from the cops. Oh, let me just take a quick 5 minutes. They awoke the fiancé and searched him, finding on him a watch, an edible thong, a sex toy, panties, and sex candy from Spencer's, valued at a total of $80.93. Again, so specific. I feel like I'm on The Price is Right here.
That would be a great showcase, like the edible thong, the sex toy, the panties. Now, is it going to be $80.93 or $89.03? I'll bid $1 over the last guy, Drew.
Your showcase is $80.93. You're over. You win.
I get an edible thong
and sex candy.
Sex candy.
What's sex candy?
That sounds
exactly?
like a.
Is it candy you get for being good? Here you go. You get a piece of sex candy. That was. I like, though, that they thought things through. They had an edible thong and panties. Because after they ate the thong, she's got to wear something, right? That's thinking ahead. Everybody might think these two were a little bit off their rockers, but no, that shows forethought. Last thing you want to do is eat your underwear and not have any underwear. I mean, this is Michigan in the wintertime. Hey, I'm not stupid, okay? We eat the thong and we give her real panties. Not an idiot.
Or maybe it was just so when they went to the movie, they'd have something to eat so they didn't have to have popcorn, you know? They just passed the thong.
So the fiancé told deputies he stole the items for his fiancée, having just proposed to her at Walmart. Deputies went to Walmart, where the staff told them that indeed both the people had come in there, and the man had asked a customer service worker to read a proposal note over the public address system, asking his girlfriend to marry him. Now, does that even count as a proposal if you have somebody else do it?
Attention, Walmart shoppers. Clean up on aisle 9, and will you marry me?
It's the new Cyrano de Bergerac. I can't do it myself. Walmart employee, you do it.
Store will be. Go ahead.
Call down, and I shall take her hand. Your words, my body.
Store will be closing in 10 minutes, and Janice, would you marry me?
There's a little girl up here at the counter who's missing her mother. And will you marry me? Not the little girl. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't read these at the same time.
Pot pies are on sale, and I'd like you to marry me.
We got a price rollback in the grocery section, and Michelle, would you move in with me? Sort of a step down from the will you marry me, but it is showing progress. Jerry isn't really ready to make that full commitment. Wow, and we're only talking about the positive announcements.
I know. But I never realized what you could do with that. My gosh, I haven't gotten anybody. I mean, I'm not planning on getting married right now, but man, it's giving me ideas. Oh.
Andrea, it's been a great 5 years, but it's time for Greg to move on. Oh, burn.
This is just a standard service they do at Walmart every day.
It's like so.
It's like you talk to a Walmart cashier and they're like, well, it's such a stressful job. Not only do you have to make sure you do all the groceries and scan everybody's items and do all of that, but then you have to read all these announcements all the time from people that just walk in with notes.
And that's funny you say that. This is a sidebar story, but I ripped my pants at work one time, like ripped the seat right out of them.
Uh-huh.
And luckily I had a sweatshirt, wrapped it around. There was a Walmart nearby, and I went to Walmart, and I found a pair of pants. I had to get back to work, so I had to really quickly do this. I got the work pants, and then I came out of the dressing room, and I walked up to the woman, and I said, hey, I ripped my pants and I need these. Is it okay if I wear these out? Can I just do that? Can I pay for them? She goes, sure, no problem. And she really quickly calls her manager over. The manager walks over and she's like, hey, he needs to wear these out. And the manager's like, oh, okay, here, let me clip the tags. And she takes care of me. And I'm like, wow, you guys are really efficient at that. And you didn't even blink an eye that I had this situation. I said, does this happen a lot? And the woman looks at me and says, it do. Really do.
You're making this up.
No, I am not. I am absolutely not making that story up. Anyway, little sidebar there, but boy, those Walmart employees, they're trained for anything. So he sold the items for his fiancée. He read the note, proposed to the girl. The staff actually provided to the deputies surveillance camera footage showing the event.
Did the couple get a copy to put alongside their eventual wedding video, or
they're getting that? They're getting mugshots, his and hers.
Photos. We got our engagement photos.
That is great. See, they were thinking this through.
Yes.
We're not paying somebody $200 for this. We get the cops to do it for free.
That's my tax money.
My tax dollars at work. That's great. So they get surveillance camera footage showing the event with the couple hugging and kissing as people stood around them and applauded. They did confirm that the ring was actually bought at Walmart for $29.62. For you, those of you playing the pricing game along at home. Surveillance footage also captured the woman putting items in her purse.
Well, she had something old, something blue. She needed something borrowed, I guess, you know.
See, they are geniuses. They seem like idiots. But they
We
had
are
a
so
plan.
far ahead of everyone else who isn't between Taco Bell and Bob Evans. Why am I giving the guy that voice? I don't know.
No, it
Sounds like-
probably fits. It probably
Sounds like
fits,
me
to
when
be
I have
fair.
a cold.
At the Bay County Jail, the deputies again interviewed the couple. The woman told them the necklace and earrings they found on her were stolen, but she denied being the thief, adding again she would not snitch on her fiancé, but then changed her mind to say he was the culprit. It must be love. She held out for, 10, 15 minutes. So they asked the fiancé then. They said, well, hey, she said you took this. And he said he did take the jewelry and the items from Spencer's as he was feeling brash as he had been given tramadol, a narcotic, in a recent hospital visit.
Oh, man, that's sad. But the feeling brash part.
Yeah, that's funny.
That to me is funny because it just sounds like something out of a Double Mint commercial or something. Feeling brash.
Yeah, a Double Mint commercial or like some fancy language in an old Western where somebody's trying to sound sophisticated. Oh, he's awful brash about his movements.
Oh, tying his shoelaces and falling asleep.
They arraigned the guy on account of third-degree retail fraud. Third degree? The charge is punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of $500 or 3 times the value of the property. The property valued at $80.93. 93 days in jail. Who decided on that?
This sounds pretty arbitrary.
What'd he do? Steal some panties? 92 days. No, 93. 93. Mark it down. He was released on personal recognizance bond. The woman was posted bond before she could be arraigned, and then eventually they're going to go to their pre-trial conferences and everything.
And also their premarital conferences. Their
yes,
premarital classes.
Pre-trial, pre-everything.
Yeah. Well, we wish them luck, and
yes,
it's another match made in Bay City. Oh, the police in Bay City, what they must go through. Because here's another story we have about the crime in Bay City. Police investigate broken candy dispenser found on Saginaw River ice.
I just want to say, before we even get going here, yes, this was a crime. But it just doesn't seem newsworthy.
I know.
This isn't some pamphlet going around the neighborhood.
This isn't something you put in with your electric bill for people to ignore. Police are investigating how a coin-operated candy dispenser wound up on a frozen stretch of the Saginaw River in Bay City. They're investigating how it got there. Obviously, somebody put it there. Somebody threw it down there. It didn't walk there. It was not built there. I mean, why are the police so baffled about this? You know, they're like,
I know.
It doesn't have legs. I don't know how it got here.
As soon as I read this, I started picturing the poster from the movie Fargo, where she's kneeling down by the dead body in the middle of the cold tundra. I'm picturing the police in Bay City, like, kneeling around this candy dispenser, like, how did this happen? Oh, my goodness.
How did it get here? What is there to investigate about that? But, I mean, and what could, if somebody was going to steal a candy dispenser, I mean, I've seen candy dispensers in grocery stores that I think have the same candy they had when I was a kid. So beyond 30-year-old candy, what, they're going to get $6.25 out of one of those machines or something?
Well, exactly. Well, and then the article says an employee spotted the dispenser laying on the ice near the Cass Avenue boat launch, and then the employee notified the police. Really? This is worth calling the police about? Like, if I saw it, I'd be like, huh, that's weird. Try to drag it in myself or something. But I don't know. Is this really police-worthy? 911, what's your emergency? There are Skittles everywhere! I think there's a Snickers bar. I can't tell. It's awful mushed. It's awful mushed. It's not breathing.
And there's some sex candy down there, too, and I can't reach it.
Yeah, it doesn't say what kind of candy it was.
Yeah, I know. Maybe that was from Spencer's. You never know. And then I like in the next paragraph, they tell who responded. They had a lieutenant, an engineer of the firefighting division, which I guess you would need for a broken candy dispenser.
I guess.
An officer of the law enforcement division. I mean, this was a one-man job, I would think, at best.
I know.
But call every department. And then it describes exactly what it looked like, because this is very important. The glass was broken out of the dispenser, giving access for the money and candy to be stolen. Hark.
And the candy.
Do you think that might have been the objective? Police believe the device may have been stolen from an area business. Oh, boy, they are smart.
Well, the device. Like, whoever wrote this article was trying to mix up the language and apparently didn't want to say candy dispenser again. Police believe thesaurus, the device.
There's no other word in the thesaurus for candy dispenser.
What would you do if a kid came up to you and was like, "Hey, can I have a quarter so I can get some candy out of that device over there?" What device? Report it. What do you mean the device? Oh, the candy dispenser? Who refers to anything as a device? It's a pop machine. It's not a pop device. I'm going to go get some potato chips out of the potato chip device. That sounds like something in Star Trek. The potato chip device. What?
There are no markings on the item to identify its owners. Because if you had a candy machine, the first thing you do is write your name on it.
Carl's Candy. That's my candy. I'm Carl.
So that if anyone steals this and throws it into the river.
If found on the Saginaw River, please return to Carl.
And not like anybody's going to want it returned. I mean, I don't know. Are there companies that repair candy dispensers? Gotta take it to the candy dispenser repair place again.
Here, read that last line.
Police are urging anyone with knowledge of the dispenser's owners to contact them. And then it gives a phone number.
Police are urging anyone. Please, if you know who owns this candy machine, come on down. We'll stamp your passport for next year's contest. Reporting a broken, stolen candy machine is one of your things you can do. Then go have a beer. Propose to your fiancée at Walmart.
And then go check the river for candy dispensers. Well, you know, we go from that to back to where we began at the historical part of Bay City. You know, they had their 150th anniversary last summer, and so it was a great celebration. And you know, Bay
Was
City,
it?
Obviously it was.
Nobody did anything.
Obviously it was. That guy had fun. But they also dug up a time capsule.
Which on the surface sounds interesting.
It sounds interesting, and it sounds like a great idea. There are
Except
a few things.
You have to remember this happened in Bay City.
And when Bay City opens a time capsule, and the headline says it's like a disaster scene, says Bay City historian.
Happy 150th! When crews opened a time capsule entombed in Bay City earth for 50 years, they expected to gaze upon pristine artifacts from days gone by. What they got instead was a putrid soup of groundwater and mired detritus, some floating, most submerged, proving man's efforts to arrest the passage of time is no easy task. No, it's easier to catch a sleeping guy in a food court than it is to arrest the passage of time. The duty now before Ron Bloomfield, chief historian for Bay County, is to sift through the capsule's objects, discern what can be salvaged, and apply some hard science to the items that can be saved. Oh, boy. So the big 150th was going to be the opening of this time capsule. And actually, kind of skipping ahead a little bit, this wasn't actually even supposed to be opened until the 200th anniversary of Bay City. But everybody got real antsy and wanted to dig this up sooner. Like, no, let's do it for 150. I want to see it now. Like, that reminds me, when I was like 7 years old, I took some baseball cards, I wrapped them in a plastic bag, and I buried them under some rocks in the garden as a time capsule. Except the next day, I was so like, oh, I want to see if my cards are still there. And then I got them back up. Well, that defeats the whole purpose. That's the same thing these people are doing. Well, it's not really a time capsule if you go digging it up right away.
Well, it was 50 years. It was there for 50 years, but still, I mean,
when the plan was to let it sit under the earth for 100.
Yeah.
And then everybody just couldn't wait. We're so excited. It's like Christmas. Basically what this is, it's a find, said Bloomfield, comparing the capsule to something hauled up from a sunken shipwreck. This is like a cleanup from a superstorm, like Hurricane Sandy or a fire-damaged house. It's like a disaster scene. You have to go through each individual object and then group them by types and by priority. Let's not put him in charge of hurricane recovery. He just starts grouping things. Put all the TVs over there. No, that's my TV. It's a TV. You gotta group it by type. What? All the clothes over there. No, but that's my stuff, and it's okay. No, it's clothes. Goes with clothes. Oh, but this just gets so much better, though. The John F. Kennedy Peace Capsule was buried on the front lawn of the Bay City County Building in 1965 as part of Bay City's centennial celebration. Though the planners intended it to be unearthed in 2065 to coincide with the city's 200th birthday, the Labor Council instead opted to open it 50 years early to mark the city's sesquicentennial. So yeah, they had this plan. Hey, we're going to dig this up 100 years from now, or in 50 if we can't wait. Oh, this next line kills me. We hadn't planned on it to be completely waterlogged, Bloomfield said. No, you didn't? That's not what the founding fathers drew up there? We hadn't planned on it being as big as it was. It's massive. Most time capsules are a couple feet by a couple feet, and that's it. One person can pick them up and carry them. This thing, it took a backhoe, all the force it could do to get it out of the ground. He's scoffing at this whole idea.
The way he's making it sound is like, wait a minute, we dug in the wrong place. This is a burial vault. There's a guy in there. No wonder it's not what we expected.
Well, all of this, we hadn't expected it to be waterlogged. We hadn't planned on it being as big as it was. What planning was there?
Well,
Did
and
they just find a...
What documentation was there? I mean, it's 1965. I mean, somebody must be around that remembers when they buried it, you know?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Well, and then, yes, exactly. Making the Historical Society's labor even more difficult is that there was no record of how many or what items were buried in the capsule. There was no paperwork either that said what any of this was. They didn't document anything? Who just buries a time capsule with no plan? 7-year-old kids with baseball cards. That's who does.
Yeah, that's...
There's upwards of 50 of what I call hard artifacts, Bloomfield said, and those could be anything from a ceramic plate to a button.
Pretty soon we'll be able to know how people lived in 1965.
Look at these buttons. Made at manufacturing plants. Look at these ceramic plates. Hand forged? Nope. Made in a factory.
From what I can tell from the artifacts, they worshipped ceramics and buttons back then.
Not having an inventory, we don't even know what we're looking for. Who planned this? Like you said, it was only 50 years ago. There's got to be somebody alive who was part of this.
Yes, you'd think.
There was a metal file box that had completely disintegrated and had to be pitched, Bloomfield said. There was a man's shirt and remnants of a dress that were completely degraded. We salvaged one cufflink off the shirt, but never found the second one, if there was one. The money question, of course, is, what went wrong? The money question. It was completely sealed with lead on all its sides, so it should have sloughed the water off, he said. The problem with sheet lead is that it's kind of malleable. My working theory... Oh, he has a working theory. From that sentence, I think he's got a lot of theories. But he's just giving us the working theory. The one he'll share with people. He's not giving us all the other ones. My working theory is that a corner may have been damaged, and it's possible it was damaged on the way into the vault, that something went amiss. We don't have any anecdotal evidence to support that.
There was only one guy that was there when we buried it, and he was out. We couldn't ask him because he was out doing 25 things in Bay City.
He also said it's possible one of the seams didn't get properly sealed. It's possible. I think the big problem was that the vault it was put in was not sealed properly. He keeps going with this sealed properly. Like, yes, I didn't even see this thing, and my guess is if water got in, it wasn't sealed properly.
They were supposed to use polydent grip, but they didn't.
Strong enough for an elephant. And again, something happened to the vault that let the
Something was
groundwater
amiss. Something was wrong. There was a shipwreck here.
See, that's why we can't put this guy in charge of hurricanes. Something came through here.
My working theory is something went wrong. My working theory is somehow water gets below the ground. If we would have known that, we would never put that time capsule there.
This article just gets better and better. For some reason, a large book and a document, possibly an instruction manual for those unearthing the object, were placed within the vault but outside the capsule, Bloomfield said. For some reason, a large book and a document. Why weren't the instructions inside somewhere?
Put them on top so when somebody opens this up, they'll be handy.
Ah, man. Hey, Matt, I'm going to go bury a treasure for you in my backyard. I'm going to bury the instructions with it, so when you dig it up, you'll know how to dig it up. Cool?
Sounds like a plan.
2 packets of documents were floating on the surface in the time capsule. One was entirely dry due to a meticulous sealing job. So somebody knew how to seal things. These papers were sealed. And it contained a letter penned by Ira Butterfield, a district court judge and historical society president of the time. The rest of the stuff we pulled out is going to be some varying degree of a mess. What kind of condition is it in? A mess, varying degrees. And he wants to compare this to Hurricane Sandy?
He's sorting it in piles of slight mess, slightly more mess, medium mess.
In an archaeological sense, the water has become a part of the objects. That's an interesting sentence. It's like the water that destroyed this time capsule has now befriended it. Yeah. And the time capsule has now allowed it to become a part of it. And the two are now one.
They're partners. They work together. So next time, just bury goldfish down there.
Looking ahead, Bloomfield would like to see a new time capsule placed, though the idea for that is in the most preliminary of stages. It would be smaller and would have a device inside to remove any residual moisture, he said. It would also be made of stainless steel or plastic, manufactured by a company specifically for use as a time capsule. Well, there you go. How about the next time you bury a time capsule, bury a time capsule? Something specifically
Look in
designed.
the yellow pages under time capsule companies.
If the idea for a new time capsule does come to fruition, it would also likely be placed in a building rather than buried underground, Bloomfield said. He'd also like to see it interred until the city's bicentennial celebration in 2065. I think we owe it to the community for it to last the full cycle, he said. Yeah, like the first one should have.
If they're going to put it in a building, I'm just picturing it turning into a thing where it's like, what's that thing in the closet in the county clerk's office? Oh, that's a time capsule. Just put your coat on top of it.
Don't open it. Get all greedy like those people did.
Just make sure it's sealed.
They were like kids at Christmas. Can we open the time capsule, please, please, please? You have to wait. You have to wait. Please, 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 please. I want to stamp my book that says I opened a time capsule. Oh, we shouldn't have put that in the book. Make it 149 things to do in Bay City. Take that time capsule thing off of there.
It is a pretty good city, even though all of this has happened there, but it's still a good city.
Well, I think that concludes our salute to Bay City.
Bay City, consider yourself saluted by Matt and Eric. We will be back again next time. Also, if you are on Facebook, remember you can like us on there now.
Yes, please do. And tell your friends.
Yes, tell your friends, especially if you liked it.
And even if you didn't like it, hey, tell your friends anyway. Well, we want anybody listening to us for any reason.
Yeah, listening to us doesn't get you stamped in a book anywhere necessarily, but...
Not yet.
But maybe our podcast will be in a time capsule opened in 2116.
Nice.
But actually opened about 50 years too early.
Or maybe next week.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man. I want to see it. All right. So for Eric Walensky
and Matt,
we'll say good night, and we'll see you next time.